now we have Habib. So Habib is one of the, in my opinion, one of the best tech experts in France about all the topics about digital transformation. He's really a geek. He founded a company called Singularity, has been acquired by FABERNOVEL recently. Right? It's a company of geeks building technical projects for bigger corporations, right? So he really has this, this culture, right, about technology, and also he understands a lot about like IT legacy to really new technology. So he's seen that through his whole career, and he accepted for many reasons to move his talk to in the afternoon because one of the speakers should be in the morning. So he's also a nice person, right? So I will ask you please to make a warm welcome for Habib right now. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, great.
So you asked me to stay on stage, right?
Yeah, please. Yeah, because I have an exercise just to explain what difference between a component, between a service, what's in its API. Okay? Okay. And I just try to gamify stuff. Okay? So, come on.
Okay. So I was not expected.
So can I ask me just to give you a cup of water?
So I will give myself a cup of water.
No, ask me for.
Please, can you serve me some water?
Oh, with great pleasure. Yeah, with great pleasure.
Acting class. Thank you very much. I want more. Okay. Okay, so I'll drink now.
What is the service? How can you express the service I gave to Mehdi? Who can help? Please use a clear sentence. What is the service I gave to Mehdi?
You should be able to answer that, yeah?
Oh, I served a cup of water. That's right. I served a cup of water, okay? Thanks. Can you please just ask me the same question?
Okay, can you serve me a cup of water? Thank you.
Go ahead. Thank you. What's the definition of the service I just gave to Mehdi? No, it's not the same thing. There is a difference. What is the difference? I served a cup of water. So the first answer was wrong. I served the cup of water. The two times I served the cup of water. What was the difference between the two actions? Quality.
So someone said something here? Attitude?
Attitude. Okay. So let's translate this.
I heard also boundaries.
Boundaries, okay. So you said me that I can do any demonstration of any websites, that's right?
Yeah, you can.
So am I connected? Okay.
You want me to? Okay.
Okay, Air France. So I'm looking for the AF83, okay? Have you ever heard about AF83 is the flight San Francisco-Paris? How can I find it? Mehdi, help me to find AF3.
Yeah, AF83.
At what time it would take off?
Yeah, it's 10:45, something like that.
Yeah, you know it, but what about the website? Help me to use the website. Here, AF83, AF83. Okay, it doesn't exist.
Come on.
It's Air France, okay. Is there any way, another way?
Can you
find AF3? Okay, let's get information. Flight, airports information, maybe?
Yeah, flight airport info, maybe. Oh my God.
All flight times, maybe?
No, not times. Yeah, times, destination network.
Okay, so this is a reuse. They reuse the form. They have a generic framework they are reusing everywhere. So it's very hard to find it. Is this, let's try another service.
All caps, yeah.
Okay? It's two different services. Because one of the function MIDI can afford to me, or I can afford to him, is just to give a cup of water. But the service is the set of the interactions between two components to deliver a function. To access to a function, we need to implement a service. So a service is not only a technical interaction, but it's a functional interaction. There's two different services to reach the same function. In the first hand, it's an enterprise architecture. Their technical approach. We choose frameworks, ESBs, EAIs, and we developers were not empowered, were not free to implement a huge and good software. They was obliged to use the framework, which was not suitable to implement such feature, okay? So be careful, function is absolutely not a service. A service is more functional interaction, is more functional work, okay?
Did I finish my acting class? Yeah?
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so a component is a piece of software, is said to be a component when it has following qualities. We're talking about the autonomy, ability for automatic deployment, ability for automatic description. We talk about a service which designed all the interaction operation necessary to call a more function contained in a component. So you will need to design or to implement services. Services cannot just be generated by software. Services are not technical stuff. Services are functional stuff. And what is a web service is just a service that all the interactions are implemented with the web. But the web is only one equation of the web. There is not two equations. It's HTTP plus HTML plus HTML or JSON plus URI. This is the web architecture. And what is an API? An API is absolutely very easy to explain. There is no other definitions unless you have a lot of products to sell. The API is an entry point, is a first single point of entry, generally mycompany.io, which can gradually deliver and reveal all the associated services. So an API is absolutely very easy to implement when I already have all the services, which are really services. That means interactions, functional interactions. Okay? So this is the API, mycompany.io. The API will automatically discover all the features, all the functions that are delivered as interaction with many services. And this is just an image about the huge interaction between the hundreds of services of Netflix. There is more than 700 or 800 microservices, and they are all interacting. It's very far from the ESB or EAI approach. So Legacy is not service-oriented. Legacy is transactional-oriented. Legacy is implemented as transactional. I'm talking about COBOL, I'm talking about ERP, like Oracle applications or other. And it's atomic, coherent, isolated, and durable transactions. It's QR-oriented. It's DCP. It needs DCP. It needs PCA. It needs clustering. But the new services are completely different. It's a new architecture. They are CAP, consistency, availability, and partitioning theorem. They are composable. They are introspectable. They are discoverable. They are auto-documented. They are scalable by design. They're secured by design. They can self-heal themselves. If it's failed, it can restart. It's elastic. So there is the problem, how to implement a new information system using the legacy. It's very easy. It's absolutely easy. You must need to be very pragmatic. There's the new information system. I have no red lights. There's a new information system. Here is my front. I must build my front. I must start building my front user experience or customer journey. You can call it as you like. We're talking about anywhere, any device, anytime, any context. You must start by defining, by designing, by implementing the customer journey, the user experience, the front applications. First. Second, you will build components, which will wrap in services, which would be wrapped in APIs. This is the second. When your business, the two layers are ready, you will start creating a middle end, a new layer, which will implement facades, and these facades would be in an old paradigm. So this old paradigm, it will just request questions and get answers in question answers of RPC, remote procedure call. And you need to implement many renovations. Sometimes it will be very easy to use if you have COBOL applications, because COBOL applications were developed by empowered developers, by free developers, by engineers who are really very, very proud of it. They understand really what they are doing, what they are implementing. It's not like G developers or .NET developers who are just clicking, or Swagger developers. You just need to click and all the software is generated. So it's more easy to implement renovation. Don't forget that all the information system of big companies that working right now, like big insurance company or banks, fortunately are based on COBOL. It works. And all this stuff, all what I call the shit applications are developed in G2E or other stuff. And what was developed by programmers who really don't understand what they're doing. So all the G2E application will be rewritten. About legacy apps, we will just create here facades and ask question responses. And in many times with my client, it was more easy to design and to implement questions directly using CSS. Maybe it's G2E. Okay. It's more easy to implement, to design and implement direct connection. And really, you don't need to buy an API manager. Why? Because this middle end is is not a long-term component. Okay, this middle end is just here to let me develop here all the facades so that it would be very easy to call it from the microservices in my digital layer, okay? And it's more easy to work with the COBOL developers to renovate the applications than just to buy EAI or ESB's new release, which we call API managers, and to put a new layer here. And many architects here are not yet retired, and they will be very passionate, very happy to help you. So, if you have 3 or 5 years in front of you to help your information or architecture evolve, you need to start here. You have 100% legacy. You will start to create a middle end, which the content, the facades are implemented here, and they will eat progressively all the COBOL applications. But you are creating here all your components, all your microservices. This is cloud native application, cloud native microservices implemented using all heterogeneous technology deployed on PaaS platform and which is self-hosted and so on. But here you will just implement facades, and slowly and progressively these facades will implement business rules that would be stopped here, okay? You will stop progressively many components, many COBOL programs, because you will implement, re-implement them in the middle and apps. So we need to absolutely be careful that all the transformation of the legacy must be driven by the front app redesign or design and implementation. This is what we call the transformation or digital transformation top-down. It's what we call the transformation business transformation, or IT make money, how to transform, how to create new applications to serve the business first. And if the business works, I will have enough money and budget to start implementing features here, and facades and implementation, more facades and more business rules, and stop the legacy progressively. The bottom-up approach, which is IT save money, that's mean I don't care about the user experience I need to create. I don't care about the business implementation. I have just to buy a technical tool that will, like API manager, that will produce hundreds or thousands question responses, and you can't implement, and then if you just publish the question responses, QRs, and then to let all the business users imagine the application, and many times you can't implement services like what we saw on Google. You can't implement reactive applications. Maybe front end will be reactive, but you can't implement reactive request. You can't implement a stream question, a stream interaction, a stream services. That means when the user is working there are many microservices that they're working on asynchronous and communicating using stream here, because the mainframe and COBOL will not support non-asynchronous, functionally speaking, not technically speaking, and neither stream approaches. Okay? So, with many of my clients, it's very hard to accept, given the culture of technical approach and bottom-up approach. They are also very afraid, they're scary about to modify the COBOL applications. They are really afraid. I don't think that it's a big issue. You can really rely on the engineers, on the COBOL engineers. And for many of my clients, I succeeded in really migrating more than 60% of all the mainframe COBOL models in less than 3 years. Okay? So this, what we call digital transformation top-down, driven by the UX and by migrating progressively, and this is more important, the legacy apps. Is there any questions? It's not necessary.
Wow, 20 minutes, like boom, perfect. Wow, like a clock. Does someone have any question on that topic, right? Middleware, legacy. Who has legacy software in the company? Hey, okay, not bad. So that's great because legacy software means your company makes enough money to have legacy software and live a long time, right? When you don't have legacy software, is that you didn't live enough, you didn't live long enough to have legacy software, right? So sometimes it's good to have legacy software. So I will have the first question, right? So Habib, today, what's the main, like, if we talk a little bit more about tech, what's the main, let's say, technical debt that companies are seeing or facing, right? Is it because they went to SOA, right? Before with SOAP XML? Is it the mainframe? So what's today in the market, the main technical debt that you see, and how today this new generation of apps can help them to evolve and change? Right? Is it mostly mainframe? Is it mostly SOAs? Where the debt has the most impact?
So today, sticking issues is to migrate the legacy. And I think that the most important investment is not about technology. The most important investment is how to empower developers, how to hire great developers, developers with a lot of courage, a lot of communication skills, and how to start building business application and not technical applications. It is really very hard for information system department to succeed in this mindset shift. I don't think that there's any new technical debt, any new technical issues, but we need only we need new developers and developers that work with the final user, with the end users. I think that the vendors have created a lot of complexity, and we are living right now in a market which is driven by by complexity, and is accidental complexity, not essential complexity. In many projects, we can hear that the project was a success for 10 million euros, and the same project was a success for for a few thousand of euros, really. So I can talk about the smart CIOs are not preparing their budget to buy tools, but to hire developers and to give them patience and to transform the way we create, the way we do business.
So you would recommend CIOs to spend money in hiring and building themselves tools instead of buying tools really on the market?
Of course, any smart developers, he will reuse before buy, and he will buy before build. He will reuse the stuff he thinks it's good to reuse, but he will buy APIs. If he can't find the right API, he will build it. So reuse before buy and buy before build. You need to involve the developers. I'm talking about the developers, the doers, the guys who really understand the foundation and the way we implement the new information system, which is non-intuitive. It's non-intuitive for non-developers guy. So the architect or business architect or technical architects, which are only vendor managers, I apologize if they're not technical architect, are only vendor managers. They have never, I know great decider or technical architects who never wrote a line of code of his life.
Yeah.
So the most important is to reuse before buy and buy before build. And this is first of all. The second is to work with the final users and to have a top-down approach to design UX first, and then to use all the genius and expertise of your guys to implement your promise, your UX promise, and to redeem your UX promise.
So developers.
Yeah, really. And stop if you are architects and you are 14, you're a technical architect and you are 14 or 45, you will really have problems if you're not switching your career, maybe in developer, business manager, such other thing.
Thank you, Habib. We are on time. Thank you very much for this talk.